I deem it a great joy and honor to have been chosen as the keynote speaker for this year's GRNMA Nurses and Midwives Week celebration of the whole teaching hospital district. I call this a home match because it is the district of my institution as well. This is a special occasion, a time to appreciate our heroes in brown, green, and white, and to reflect on our journey to renew our energy for the task that lies ahead. Please give yourselves a warm round of applause. You deserve it. The theme of this year's celebration, Nurses and Midwives, our future. Caring for nurses and midwives strengthens economies. This theme is not just a slogan. I love this theme because it sends a powerful message. A message that reminds us that the health of the healthcare provider is the health of the healthcare system, which in turn is the health of the nation. Nurses constitute the greatest proportion of health sector workforce. And if the health of the health sector is the health of the economy, then we can safely say that the health of the nurse is the health of the nation. Mr. Chairman, I liken this year's theme to a family gathering for a wedding or a funeral. I mean a gathering at which the catering services is not outsourced, where the young ladies, the cousins, the nieces, and the nephews go to the kitchen to cook the food. When they gather in the morning, you realize that they first cook some food. Small food, that food doesn't come out. They eat it to get the energy to cook for all of us. What this tells us is that the caterer must also be taken care of, because an army marches on its stomach. It is for this reason that our mothers who cook for the week, when they want to cook a lot of food, they first fry the fish or the meat and put it there, so that they will be munching on it small, to have the energy to cook for the rest of us. Mr. Chairman, when we care for our nurses and midwives, we are not only strengthening our health system, we are building a stronger economy and a bright future. What role do nurses and midwives play in our healthcare system? The whole district of the whole teaching hospital district of the GRNMA is a special one because it consists of a teaching hospital, the only one within this enclave, 2 tertiary institutions, the whole Nursing Training College and the University of Health and Allied Sciences. For the whole teaching hospital, that is the only teaching hospital within this enclave, and of course one of 6 teaching hospitals that we have in this country. You receive cases from all over the region and beyond. From CHIPS compounds in remote communities, district hospitals, all over you receive cases. Day and night, you receive and manage cases. You receive emergencies, referrals, and review cases. From the busy OPDs, specialist clinics, theaters, and wards in the hospital to the maternity units, where new life begins. Our nurses and midwives are there, serving with skill, dedication, and compassion. Mr. Chairman, for the tertiary institutions, you receive students from every nook and cranny of this country, from private and public institutions. From villages and cities around the country, you receive students. Within the 4 walls of your institutions, you diligently mold these students into modern-day nightingales. In fact, nurses and midwives are the heart of the healthcare system. You are always the first to arrive in the hospital, and most of the time, the last to leave. Take the theater staff, for instance. Until nurses come in and say, we are starting work, work doesn't start. The surgeon comes in between, leaves. Until the last cleaning is done, the nurses cannot leave. So you are always the first to get there, and you are the last to leave. You are the bridge between the people and the healthcare system. And many times, you are the reason a patient walks out of the hospital with hope and a smile. We say that nurses are angels on earth. Angels are taken care of by God. But if nurses are angels on earth, it means that they are on secondments. And by administrative principles, if you are seconded to an institution, the differences between your salary and other things are paid by the institution that you have been seconded to. So if nurses are angels on earth, then the earth must take care of the nurses and midwives as well. Mr. Chairman, even as we celebrate these achievements of nurses, we must remember that those who care for others also need care. And that is the essence of this year's theme. We cannot ignore the challenges that the nursing and midwifery profession is confronted with, even within this whole teaching hospital districts. Staff shortages, that is aggravated by migration. I remember when the MCs mentioned the noise from the room, where we were reciting the nurses' pledge, where we pledge to make our services available locally and internationally. The stress was on the international. There are a lot of nurses here who are ready to leave the system. Nurses' experienced hands are retiring and leaving the scene. But this is not commensurate with the rate at which financial clearance is being given. But the workload is constant, so the few nurses that are left behind are overburdened with work. Overwork and burnout, from the OPDs to the clinics, every day nurses overwork, they get home, they are tired, they are stressed. Limited logistics and equipment to work with. In the midst of all this, nurses are also confronted with delayed promotions and inadequate recognition. Lack of opportunities for personal growth and development. Mr. Chairman, in spite of all these, our nurses and midwives continue to serve with dedication, compassion, and grace. Well done to every one of you here. Your sacrifices are the silent foundation of our healthcare system. The question I ask is, how do we care for the caregiver? Mr. Chairman, I have only 4 points or 4 suggestions to make. It is important for us to care for the caregiver. Caring for nurses and midwives means that we ensure that they are provided with 1, safe working environments, the right equipment, essential drugs and gadgets to work with, protection from workplace violence, physical and emotional. Nurses are usually the first recipient of the anger of patients and their relatives. Sometimes through no fault of theirs, because they are those that are always around and available. Nurses also require respect and dignity. Mr. Chairman, this issue is significant because unlike other professionals, when they feel threatened within their workspace, sometimes they can choose not to go to work. If the workplace is not safe, there can be a memo that today everybody work from home. Nurses cannot work from home. Sometimes you risk your life. You know that this work environment is risky, but I can't work from home. Look at when COVID happened. Everybody else was asked to stay in their house, and nurses were asked to go out there and face it as the soldiers that we are. Number 2 is fair pay and recognition. In the current setup, nurses and midwives are more popular for doing wrong things than for all the right things that they do. The public and our superiors are quick to notice one recalcitrant nurse, as opposed to many nurses sacrificing their lives for the patients. Mr. Chairman, it is a natural principle that work of equal value must attract equal pay. I must say that our nurses do sometimes far more than other professionals, and they are less remunerated. This is not fair. Why must nurses and midwives always resort to strike to get their needs addressed? Then there comes the other aspect that nursing is an essential service. Nurses are not supposed to go on strike. Meanwhile, strike is the only language that the employer understands. How do we help our nurses and midwives when the employer doesn't understand their needs until they call a strike? The mass exodus of our experienced nurses and midwives is a warning that if we don't recognize and reward hard work, others will. And that is what is happening. I have a lot of friends from Trafalgar, a lot of them who have gone to the Ghana College to specialize, a lot of them who have gone ahead to do their masters and other programs. And currently there are those who are leaving. So today I chat with them, tomorrow they'll be like, oh, I left last week. Then they will tell you, I met this other person. They're like, oh, I'm not aware of this one. We use a lot of them as our clinical tutors. You assign students and then you try calling them, you say them, oh, say I didn't tell you I was leaving, I have left today. And these are experienced hands that we are losing. It means that we don't recognize and reward them, but others know the value of nurses. And this is a clarion call to all of us. Mr. Chairman, my point number 3 is opportunities for continuous professional development, personal growth, and development. The whole teaching hospital district of the GRNMA is a special one because you work within a teaching hospital. Cases that come to this facility are cases that require specialist care. So the nurses and midwives that work in these facilities are looking for the opportunity to specialize, to be able to provide this care. And so there's a need for us to support our nurses and midwives to upgrade and update themselves. In the current setup, it is easier for other professionals, our brothers and sisters, I call them analogous, to get steadily with pay and go and come. When it comes to nurses, they say because of your numbers. Because of your, is it our fault that we form the largest proportion of the health sector workforce? So why should it be that when it comes to nurses, no, you people are too many and so we can't sponsor this number. Meanwhile, in other professions, they sponsor 50% or more and they go and come. These are the opportunities that our nurses are asking for. Because one thing that stresses people is when you give them work that they are not adequately trained to perform. I used to work in the theater, and on Thursdays we do neurosurgery. And I'm not a theater nurse. And it gets to Thursday and you have to set up for, say, laminectomy. The stress you go through, even picking the things, by the time the procedure starts, you are tired. You go and they are like, this is a clamp, this is a clamp, and they are different clamps. They look similar, but different functions. Because I am not a trained orthopedic nurse, that alone stresses me, even to pick the items, let alone to go and start and come. It's the same thing when you look at your nurses in the dialysis units, in the cardio clinic and the specialist clinics. If they don't go out there to specialize, every day they come to work and they are stressed. Not because they don't like their work, but because they are not adequately trained to be able to render these services. Nurses within the whole teaching hospital districts also require support for mental health and their well-being. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, recently myself and my students published a paper. It was about burnout among nurses in the dialysis unit of a teaching hospital. One of them said something that was profound. She said that it is hard to keep giving emotionally when you are so tired. Because of the cases that come to the teaching hospital, what the nurses within this environment are exposed to, the level of burnout is so huge. And the job demand resources model says that every work has demands and you need resources to be able to cope with. And so burnout would happen if the job demands exceed the job resources. So there are two things you can do to reduce burnout. Is that you reduce the job demands or you increase the job resources to match with the job demands. In some professions, you can reduce the job demands. In nursing, it is not possible. Because you can't say that today we want to see 50 patients, 50 have arrived, the rest of you go, come tomorrow. We don't determine our workload. So when it comes to nursing, the only thing you can do is to increase the job resources so that it will reduce the burnout on the nurses. In our system, nurses tend to use their personal resources to manage burnouts. We take care of a patient. You go to the ward, and then 5, 10 of your patients die within a week. They are left on your own to manage it psychologically. We need units, professionals, counseling units for our nurses, so that when they experience this, then they can go there and get professional care to reduce the level of burnout on them. Mr. Chairman, when we invest in these things, we are not just helping individuals. We are improving the quality of care, saving lives, and boosting productivity across the nation. According to the World Health Organization, investing in nursing and midwifery yields some of the highest returns in the health and economic developments. Because a healthy nurse is a productive one, and a productive nurse builds a healthy nation. Policies made at national or regional level must truly benefit nurses and midwives at the district and facility levels, because that is where the real work is. Somebody will say that is where the action happens. And now, I want to conclude with our professional responsibility. To my fellow nurses and midwives, let us also play our parts. Let us continue to uphold the ethics and integrity of our profession. Let us mentor our young ones, encourage teamwork, and continue to be advocates for quality and compassionate care. Our attitude, discipline, and professionalism are what define nursing and midwifery, not just our uniforms and titles. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate this week, let us remember, when we care for our nurses and midwives, we strengthen our health system. When our health system is strong, our communities thrive. So what I'm saying is that when our people are healthy, our economy also grows. So let us continue to care for our patients. Let us continue to care for ourselves and for one another, and for the beautiful profession that we all represent. God bless our nurses and midwives. God bless the GRNMA, Both Teaching Hospital Districts. God bless our dear nation, Ghana. Thank you.